Welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Eric. I'll be taking you through this topic length, and for this lesson, we're going to cover the circumference of a circle. I want to see what the circumference of a circle is all about, what it is, and basically how we do the calculations involved in that. So we have a few questions on circumference of a circle just to help us with illustrations on how that can be done. And then we have a few questions at the end of the lesson just to help you with practicing and just to help you gauge on your understanding of the concepts as discussed during this lesson. So what does it mean when you talk about circumference, circumference, of a circle? So circumference is basically the perimeter of a circle. We've talked about perimeter before in the previous slides, and we said perimeter is simply the distance all around a given figure. So when you talk about the distance all around a circle, what this figure here is what we are calling a circle. Maybe you can define a circle as a set of all points in a plane that are at a fixed distance from a given point. This given point, you normally call it the center, and actually that is what you describe as the center of this circle. And the constant distance or the fixed distance, we call it the radius of the circle. You see, this one here. This distance here, we call the radius of the circle. So we call it R. It's a constant distance, so it doesn't matter where you join the center, at which point of the circumference are you joining the center to. So you could join the center at this point A. So you talk of OA, that distance is constant. Whether you join it to some other point, maybe B, joining the center to B, that is still the radius of the circle. So twice the radius will give us something called the diameter of the, so twice this distance here, we call it diameter of the circle. Diameter is the distance of this line that is passing through the center of the circle. The line passing through the center of the circle and joining 2 points on the circumference of the circle, So we want to see how then do you calculate the perimeter of a circle, what we are calling the circumference, So we have formula 1 is that when the circumference, for example, this one here, you can use maybe a string, then you trace it on this path all the way up to this point here. Then you can straighten it a millimeter scale, like maybe a meter rule or just a normal ruler. You'll be able to get the length. That will give us the perimeter, or what you're calling the circumference. And of course, you should be able to determine the diameter. The diameter, this distance here, you should be able to find the diameter. There are different ways which you can find this diameter. Maybe you could use something like a set square, maybe this way. So you could use something like this to help you find the diameter. This is a technique that you can maybe try and apply to help you find it. So this is these are set squares. So this is a millimeter scale. So you just need to find this reading here and this other reading here. Maybe this could be 20 and this could be 30. So the difference between 30 and 20 will give us the diameter of this, the diameter of this circle. So just move the set square here. This is set square B, and this is set square A. You move them closer to each other. So you move this in this direction. You move it until they hold the circular material there in between. This could be maybe a coin, a circular, circular object like a coin, maybe a pipe, So from there you'll be able to find the circumference. I mean the diameter. So usually if you divide the diameter, I mean the circumference, by the diameter, you will always arrive at one specific value. Every time you take the circumference, it doesn't matter the size, whether it is this one here, whether it is this one here, whether it is this, or the biggest circle that you can ever attain. Every time you take the circumference, you divide it by the diameter using the two techniques that I've talked about, how you can find the circumference using the string and a millimeter scale or just a ruler, and also how you can find the diameter using the two set square and maybe a ruler. Yes. So if you take the circumference, you divide by the diameter, it's always giving you a constant value, constant value. So we know this constant value is called pi. It is approximately equal to 22/7, or some decimal, like maybe 3.142, if you are to write it to four significant figures, So approximately that value here is called pi. Every time you take the circumference, you divide by the diameter, you end up with this value here called pi. Pi. So it means then, if you multiply both sides by d, so let's say we multiplied both sides by d, and you see d cancels d, and then you realize then circumference is equals to pi d. Now, d here stands for the diameter. This is pi, which is 22/7, and this is the circumference. So you see already we have the formula that can be used to find the circumference of a circle. You see, basically the perimeter. You see. So since diameter here, we said diameter is twice the radius, you can substitute d for 2r. So I have c is equals to pi times 2r. Now in algebra, when you're writing algebraic expressions or equations, normally we write the numbers first. So it's not nice to write this one this way. This is not the best way you can write it. In math, it doesn't look interesting. I mean, you can, all the time we try to write the number first. So this number can be written, this expression of the equation can be written as 2 pi r. So this is also a constant. So normally number constant, then the variable there. So this is an alternative formula that can be used to find the circumference of a circle, 2 pi r or pi d, both of which we have explained how we are arriving at them. Pi d is the diameter, and I was able to explain what diameter is. So this is the formula that you'll be using. Circumference is equals to 2 times pi times r, and I've said pi is usually approximately equal to 22/7. So there are a few examples here that will help us with illustrations on how to apply that formula that we have derived. So we have, find the circumference of a circle of radius 7. So we simply write the formula. C is equals to, I hope you can remember, 2 pi r. So we said pi is 22/7, and then radius is 7 radius. So again, you see now, 7 cancels 7. And what do we get now? Which numbers are remaining there? So we only have 2 times 22, And what do we get as the circumference? So circumference now is 44 what? 44 centimeters. That is the distance all around this circle. If you are to draw a circle of radius 7 centimeters, then you try to trace the circumference using that string, straightening it on a millimeter scale, it will be 44 centimeters. Maybe you'll need to use a meter rule. Now the 30 centimeter ruler will not be appropriate in measuring this length here. Yes. So we have another example here. The circumference of a bicycle wheel is 140 centimeters. Find the radius. So in this case now, you can try. So we have the circumference is equals to 2 pi r. But maybe you can try and, find what r is. So maybe I divide both sides by 2 pi. So if I do that, the whole of this will cancel the whole of that. So what do I get then? So now I have r is equals to circumference divided by what? 2 pi. That makes it easier now. So circumference is given as 140, and pi is, so we have 2 times pi, and pi is 22/7. See. So this one is more appropriate that you simplify the numerator and denominator separately. So we have our numerator as 140 and denominator as 2 times 22/7, which will be 2 by 22 is 44/7. So if you divide the two, numerator divided by denominator, this will be 140 divided by 44 over 7. So this is 140 times 7 over 44. So how do you simplify this? So maybe 2 goes here 70 times, 2 goes here 22. So we still have again 2 here 11, 2 here 35. So we will do 35 by 7 first, then we divide the answer by 11. So let me do it here. So 35 by 7. So 35 by 7. That is 5 by 7 is 35. 5 carry 3. And 7 by 3 is 21 plus 3 is 24. So this is 245. So this is what I'm going to divide by 11 again. So I have now 245 here divided by 11. So 11, 245. You can add a number of zeros at the decimal point. So 11 goes into 24 how many times? That is 2 times, and 2 by 11 is 22. So you subtract these 2. 4 from 2 is 2, and then you drop this down here. That will be 25. 11 goes into 25 2 times, and 2 by 11 is 22. So you subtract, this is 3, you drop the next 0 here. So 11 goes into 30 again 2 times, and 2 by 11 is 22. You subtract, you borrow 1 from 3, take it here, it will be 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. You drop this down here, the next 0. 11 goes into 87 times. 7 by 11 is 77, and the difference is 3. Borrow 1 from here, put it here is 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. Drop the next one here. 0 and 11 goes into 30 2 times. And so 2 by 11 is 22. And you subtract this is 8. Borrowing 1 from 3, putting it there, it is 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. So the decimal point will jump up there after 2, 2. So we have 22.272. You know, once you get to the fifth decimal, fifth figure, fifth significant figure here, then you stop, because you can always round off to 4 significant figures. So now I have 22.272. So I can round off to 4 significant figures, which is then going to be 22.27. The number after the cutoff line is less than 5, so nothing changes. So you only reduce this to 0, which will then not count that much, so you can ignore it. So it means then the radius is equals to 22.27 centimeters. So we have another example here. Bicycle wheel turns 15 times to cover a distance of 66. So here we have 15 times the circumference, you know. So we have 15c. Circumference is like 1 turn. 1 turn is the circumference, you see. So 15 times the circumference will be the distance covered, which is then 66. But circumference is given by 2 pi r. So I'll substitute c for 2 pi r. So I have 15 times 2 pi r is equals to 66. So what you're looking for is the radius. So I'll substitute pi only because we are finding the radius. So 15 times 2 times 22 over 7, and then you multiply by r, this is equals to 66. So again, you can multiply the other side by the reciprocal of what is on this other side, the reciprocal of the coefficient of r. And therefore, what I will get as the value of r will be 66 times 7. And then you divide it by 15 by 2 by 22. So 22 goes here once, 22 goes there 3 times. Then 3 here once, 3 here 5 times. And so what I have now is 1 times 7. So this is R. It is equals to 1 times 7 over 5 times 2. So what we'll get is 7 over 10, which is equals to 0.7, and the units are meters. So you have 0.7 meters or 70 centimeters. Now, our last example is here. The radius of a wheel is 21. Calculate the circumference of the wheel. So circumference is given by 2 pi r. This is direct. So 2 times 22 over 7. And then you multiply by the radius, which is 21. So 7 here, 1, 7 there, 3. And so you have 2 by 22 by 3. So this is, you can decide to multiply 2 by 3 first. That will be 6. And then you multiply by 22. So now we have 22 multiplied by 6. So 2 by 6 is 12. 2 carry 1. 2 by 2 is 12 again, plus 1 is 13. So this is going to be 132 centimeters. So we have few questions here to help you practice on the same thing that you have learned during the lesson. You can always attempt and possibly post the feedback on the comment section. You'll be able to look at them and give feedback in the due course. Otherwise, that marks the end of the lesson. Until next time, goodbye.